Hey, this is Chris Parsons from The Last Click. I'm wrapping up the day one here at CommerceNext. It's been a great day and a number of great conversations. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet someone from Mike's team, and Mike was kind enough to join us this afternoon. Mike Lee is from a company called Cognitive.ai, which sounds impressive and also is impressive. When I was having conversations last night, the dialogue went around merchandising in stores, dealers, so forth, understanding their inventory flow, forecasting to opportunity of sales. And basically, it's still all very manual. A lot of POS systems have a replenishment that says, hey, you're getting low on this stock and should bring in three or four more based on the run rate of sale. But it doesn't take into consideration weather patterns, trends, loss opportunity of sales from just maybe the store hours or all kinds of other activities going on. But cognitive AI for me, it sounds like one of a kind and is actually taking a bigger picture to come and help support merchants and retailers get the right inventory into stores for future promotions, and it understands marketing. I'm going to have Mike do an intro here of himself and his journey to this point, and then we'll dive in more to what cognitive AI actually does and how it does it.
Chris, thanks for having me. So I grew in Vietnam and I came to New York in 2005. And I started my first company is a digital agency, CBI Digital, in 2007. And for almost 20 years working with brands and merchants in performance marketing, I noticed a major problem that merchants don't not even aware about that as a problem is a disconnect between marketing and inventory. So what I see is that when running a lot of digital campaign for merchant, for e-commerce retailers, a lot of time the campaigns underperform because the merchant run out of stocks for the best sellers, right? And some other cases, the merchant want to put a lot of ad dollars on selling out the overstocks, but the overstock is overstock because nobody want it. You cannot use ad dollars to move those stock, and that affect the marketing performance. And I realized there is a bigger problem underlying is a disconnect between marketing and inventory. And I talk more with my inventory team. I also see that inventory buyers try to forecast demand, but marketing influence demand. But most of the inventory planners and buyers I know do not know what is going on the marketing side. That lead to a lot of inefficient decisions that lead to overbuy and underbuy, and which affect the cash flow, slowing down the inventory turns, and that lead to underperforming on the inventory side as well. So that's a big problem that led me to create Conative AI, where we use deep learning models to leverage the marketing signals beyond historical sales data to do forecasting for brand with higher accuracy and lower risk of not knowing what is going on. And Conative AI has been running for about 3 years. We won the best inventory solutions of the year of the Retail Tech Breakthrough Award in 2026, and as a SaaS award for best product analytics as well.
Mike, you mentioned with the inventory and the merchants not even knowing, what are some of the data points that you take into consideration to help forecast correctly?
So for Conative with the deep learning model, it works best with e-commerce and Amazon's because we have real-time data streams into Conative. So we take into features like the product traffics, the conversion rate, right? The ad spend, the media spend, the ad clicks, and custom marketing events into the deep learning model to train. Now, for even wholesale and retail stores, if we have the custom marketing events that we know about so that we can measure the impact of those promotions into the sales. We can put that into the wholesale and retail stores as well. But for Amazon's top marketplaces, as well as D2C and Shopify or Magento stores, that's where the deep learning had the strongest impact.
And you also mentioned earlier about often companies will go to marketing to help clear out items, excess inventory. And I have also found it true that you're better off taking whatever marketing dollars you had and putting it towards lowering the price of the product because it's not selling and marketing's not the cure to that. It's the price point that it needs to get to.
Yeah. So I would say for when you already have overstock, the first thing Conative try to help is that not getting you into that situation. So with better forecasting, we can lower the overstock quantity and thus lower the cash that got tied up in inventory. But assuming you already have that, yes, the better way is just getting it out by, there is some form of promotion you can do. Whenever you run promotion, you can make the stock better. But like give good purchase, for example, it's a great idea I see brand doing is that you can move stock out without, diluting the brand that much. So there are form of promotion or marketing campaign you can run to move overstock items out effectively.
Yeah, and when you discount a price, you're lowering the value of it versus a gift with purchase. You can say that there was an $80 gift with purchase, and you can say that it was the 80 because that's the full price that you were retailing it for. So it has more of a, instead of saying if maybe you do 50% off, now it's only a $40 item. So you really devalued the price of that product in the industry versus
Yeah.
gift with purchase, and now you're giving away an $80 item.
That's right.
Yeah, it's great. What would you like the audience to really understand about cognitive.ai and maybe some of the returns that your clients are seeing?
So the first thing is that with Conative, we take into consideration a lot of marketing signals into forecasting so we can solve the problems that most traditional tools just cannot do. For example, if you triple your ad spend, your demand should be higher, but it doesn't happen on the spreadsheet when you do the inventory buying plan, right? When you have a surge in traffic or you have a drop in conversion rate, all of that should be reflected in your inventory planning or inventory buying decisions. So the first thing is that Conative allow you to reduce the unknown factors when you do planning. Most of in traditional tools use like some kind of rules based system to make decision, and that doesn't reflect the complexity of of the world of inventory planning and buying and forecasting. So that's the first. If, for example, last June you are selling 1,000 units, but you only sell 15 days of the month because the other 15 days you're out of stock. This year June you cannot rely on last year's sales to forecast for this year. This kind of situation create the majority of the buying risk or buying mistakes that lead to overbuy or underbuy. And for Conative, with deep learning models and marketing signal, we can reduce the majority of the risk, and thus we can reduce the understock overstock situation for the brand. That's the thing. And for a lot of brands that use Conative, we can limit the error score down to like 10 or 20% of MAPE score in terms of accuracy. And we have brands that grow 3 times in the course of 2 year working with us while reducing the cost required for inventory buying in half. So you can grow more and spend less cost in buying because you have better inventory turn and better cash flow.
Yeah, and cash flow is a big deal. I mean, there's so many
Mm.
times that merchants can't even buy because they have so much legacy inventory that they have to sell through it before they get cash to make new purchases. Mike, how does your tool help with like the biggest area of inventory risk I see is usually in the seasonal goods, just because you have such a long period, you have to buy 9 months out and import a lot of them, and then they have like a short period to sell through. How does your technology help with forecasting for seasonal items?
So the nice thing about deep learning is that it do very well with seasonal forecasting because anything seasonal have a clear patterns. And when anything with clear pattern and assuming that we have historical sales data to do the forecast with the clear pattern, AI usually forecast that very accurate. So that's the good things about the deep learning, right? But when you do forecast that far ahead, now there are two things that we keep in mind. The first thing is that we know exactly the window we're going to sell and how much we're going to sell within that window, so we have a plan. But as the time getting closer, the AI only refresh itself every 7 days. So any change in the market, AI going to tell you we see some change. So that also allow you to be proactively watch the performance according to your plan and react way faster, only one step ahead of the situation, instead of by nearly the end of the season, you realize that you have a lot of overstock or already sell out only like halfway through the season. So you always know things very early on and you act timely enough. You call your suppliers, you move some order earlier, PO like sooner, or you already have a plan to clear the stock because you know that quick. So that's the thing with the seasonal. I would say the bigger challenge for anything forecasting is more like the newly launched product.
No history.
Yeah, the product have no historical data to learn from. And for Conative, for example, we have an algorithm that find the similar product to the newly launched product, and we find the selling pattern of those similar products as the baseline to forecast the newly launched. Usually is a bigger challenge than the seasonal one. Luckily, seasonal is one thing that AI does very well.
Amazing. If the audience is watching and they want to get a hold of you, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, you can always reach out to me via email at Mike Lee, Mikele, at Conative.ai. So Conative.ai, or reach out to me via LinkedIn with Mike Lee at Conative AI.
Well, wonderful. And I'll put your information in the description as well so everyone can easily get a hold of you. Mike, I appreciate you taking some time away from your booth and coming down and spending with me on the last click. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to connect offline so we can have further conversations about how you can help out some of our clients.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you.